Hello guys, in today's video I am going to show you how to create an inheritance chain, the basic concept of a video game. So let's start. I will open Visual Studio. I will create a new project. It will be a C++ project, an empty one. Let's choose empty project. I will give it a name inheritance chain, basic inheritance chain, BIC. So let me add new module. It will be the main CPP, main.cpp. Let me create the main function. It is the starting point of the program. Return 0. Then I have to create the first element of the inheritance chain. In my case, it will be an abstract class. So let's click on project, add module, and choose header file. Let's give it a name. It will be game object in my case. Game object. So it is a game object class. As I mentioned before, it will be an abstract class. So there won't be a definition and a constructor. Class game object. Public. And you cannot have a constructor because an abstract class cannot have an object. So I will create a method. In this case, void virtual void update equals 0. It is a pure virtual method. That means this method makes the object abstract. So if you have one pure virtual method in an object, it will become abstract class. So you cannot create an object from an abstract class. But that you already know if you're an experienced programmer. Let me create two properties. If we talk about a video game, we should have position X and position Y. In my case, I will add integer. I will use integer variables. Int pos X and int pos Y. There is a virtual void update. All in update method, all game events are checked each frame. So all input and game events are checked each frame. Okay, so after that, we can create the next object in the inheritance chain. Let's click project, add module. Let's create the second header file. It will be simple object. Simple object.h. It is the next object in the inheritance tree. So let's create the class itself. Class simple object. Let's create the constructor. Simple object. And let's create the inheritance first. So if we talk about C++, it will be double score with public and the name of the class. So double score, public, and the name of the object. In my case, it is called game object. Game object. But first we have to include it. Include game object.h. And now we already have the simple object class already contains the inherited properties and functions. So let's create the parameters of the constructor. Int posX, int posY, and maybe I will add a third element. It will be the rotation. Float rotation. Float rotation. Yes. No. Rotation will be added in the next object because it is an invisible game object. Let's create the destructor. I need some help from Google because my keyboard does not contain this element, this character. So it is the simple object, virtual destructor, virtual simple object destructor. And then you have to check game object. Virtual void update equals 0. It means it is a pure virtual function. The implementation will be in the child class. In the current class, there won't be any implementation at all. So, in simple object, I need void update override, and I need a definition of the function in the CPP file as well. So let's click on project, add module, choose CPP file, and it will have a name, simpleobject.cpp. Simpleobject.cpp. Let's include the header file. Let's create first the constructor and then the functions. So simple object, simple object. You have to copy and paste the parameters. Let's create the values of the properties. So this public game object. It should be protected, not private. Sorry. Protected. So this posx equals to posx in the parameter, and this posy equals to posy in the parameter list. Then create an update definition for the inherited void update function. Void simple object update. But in this case, I will keep it empty because I don't have any logic to use in an invisible object. Yes, it will be empty. And rotation. Let's set a virtual void render. Virtual void render. If you use additional libraries, you can have render window object in the parameter list, but in my case, I will keep it with a string. So std string window, because in your game you will need a window object for render function. We need an EOS stream first. It will be here. Include EOS stream. So now we've got the string. In the CPP file, I will have an empty render. Void simple object render std string. So I will keep it empty as well, just like with the update function, and I will have an implementation in the next object. The next object will be called simply object. So I will show you the next object. Let's click on project, add module. First, let's create the header file of the next object. I will call it object.h. And here I will include simple object. I will include simple object.h. Let me create the class object. public the constructor first object. I need to create the inheritance, so class object double score public simple object, and now we can copy and paste the parameter list from the child class, from the parent class, sorry. Int posX, int posY, and in this object there will be an additional variable. It will be float rotation, and it will be protected element of the aim of the object. Protected float rotation. And now we must set the inheritance. I will show you in a moment. So you need object. You've got 3 parameter lists, 3 parameters in the parameter list. You can copy and paste. Now click on project. I will click on add module, and let's create a CPP file as well. It will have the same name as the header files, but it will be the implementation of the functions. Object.cpp. Let's include the header file. Object.h. Let's create first the constructor. So object. Let's copy and paste the parameter list with the added rotation. And now we must set the inheritance. So double score the name of the parent object. It is simple object. And now you need to set the inherited properties. So if you check simple object.h, it had posX and posY, and we inherited posX and posY in the object, in the child object. So we need double score simple object posX and posY. That's all. And we need to set initial value for a rotation. It will be this rotation equals to rotation in the parameter list. So we can set a rotation position X and the position Y with the constructor of the object whenever we want in the game. Then we need an implementation for the render, for the virtual void render. So it will be void render override, and we need the same parameters. So std double score stream window. Okay, and we can have the implementation here. So void object render std string window, and we can have render logic here. That will override the current render function. Anyway, I can show you if you want to extend the parents function, you can just simply add the name of the parent class, simple object, and then 2 double scores, and you can add the render function to the parameter window. So it means if you do so, you will have the same, you will inherit the parent's render function, and if you want, you can just simply extend with other render logic. But I will use this one now. Okay. You also need void update override. Void update override that will override the simple objects update function. And you can do the same as in render if you just want to inherit the same logic. You can do like in render function. Let me show you. Void object update, and you can type parent object, the parent object's name, simple object, 2 double scores, and the name of the function. So in this case, it will be update. And of course, you can extend with other update logic if you want. So it is the object. There is the inheritance here, and we can check first that it works or not. But I hope it will. So include. You know what? Let's include the game object. Include game object, and let's include the object. Now we can at least create these objects. Let's check. So I will create, let's say, game object. Game object G. Game object obj1. Oh, no, sorry, it's an abstract class, so I will create yes, this case you need a pointer. It is the main rule. You cannot create an object of an abstract class. You need pointer. And I will say obj1 equals simple object. And you need a constructor, so it will be position x and position y, 100 and 200. So I have just created a simple object from the abstract class. Let's create the object, the other one. So it will be the second one. obj2 equals new object. And in this case, if I create an object, I need 3 parameters: position x, position y, and rotation. So let me give 200 and 300, and the rotation will be 0. Okay. And you know what? We need in the render you know what? No, let's just try this simple code. If it works, there will be a text std out. Objects have been created successfully. If not, there will be an error. So let's check it first. No, there is an issue. Let me check. The destructor. It will be the destructor. Yes. So it works. Objects have been created successfully. Now let's move forward. Let's say I want to display the properties, the values of the properties, and the name of the object. So I will say there will be a group ID. Yes, I forgot about it. In my game engines, I always use a unique ID and a group ID in order to identify the objects. So let's say I would create that in the abstract class, because in an inheritance chain, if we talk about game engine, all objects must have a group ID to identify the behavior of the object. So I will give int unsigned int group ID, and in this way, not just game object, not just the game object has group ID, but all the child classes gets it thanks to the inheritance chain. So let's say I've got group ID pos x y, and because of that, I will need to extend the parameter list in the constructor. So the first one is unsigned int group ID. I will create here as well, and then I will create the initial value for the group ID. This group ID equals to group ID with small letter. Group ID equals to group ID with small letter. Okay, I've got group ID. as well. And now we need to update the inheritance here because it won't work. I need to add group ID here. Group ID. Group ID. Yes. And also here, we need the same parameter list. Unsigned int group ID. Yes, I need to add group ID, unsigned integer group ID to the parameter list here. So now it works. It works fine. And now I need to change the constructor. Let's say 16, the number of the group ID, and 17. Let's check. Yes, it works. It works like a charm. And now let me create one more thing. So in order to display the values of the properties, I will need to write it in render. For example, here in simple object, std cout, let's say group ID double score. It will be this group ID. I need to convert it to string, so it will be std to string. We don't have means we need to add here include string. Now I will have std to string. Yes, so I can convert it to a string. Yes. Let's display all the elements, all the properties of the object. So group ID, the next one will be POSIX. This POSIX and position Y. Position Y. And let's see, it will happen. You know what? In the child class, it will show the same with the child's parameters, with the child's properties. So let's check object render, and it inherits from simple objects. So let's see if it works or not. So in theory, it will display all the properties with all the objects. One moment. I need to call obj1. One moment. Public. It's strange. virtual void render, it is public element, simple object render, object void render, override, and so now I will cheat and simply say, let's do this in the update. Let's do this in the update. Virtual void render. Void render override. Update. Okay. So now I will cheat. I will copy and paste the renders elements. And I will add this in the update. Just to show you this example. So I've got the simple object update where all the properties of the objects are rendered or displayed, and it will be inherited by the child object. So here. So let's try. Okay. And the second one. First, show this text. And as you can see, it works like a charm. But I need a second line. So here. Like this. As you can see, group ID 16, cos x 100, cos y 200, and with the inherited function, I get the second object's properties 17, 200, 300. So it works like a charm. I hope you enjoyed my content. If you enjoyed my content, let's subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.